This episode is brought to you by Browning Firearms. Guys, Browning has been manufacturing rifles since 1878 and is still recognized as a classic, traditional company with a long, proud history. If you fast forward 147 years and they still are continuing to deliver high-quality rifles to the market. The newest addition to the Browning lineup is the Browning X-Bolt 2 rifle. The X-Bolt 2 represents the next generation of award-winning bolt-action rifles from Browning. This new rifle is designed with the concept of total accuracy in mind, featuring elements that work together to help you perform at your best, whether at the range or in the field. New features include the Veritech stock, which provides the adjustability of a chassis-style stock while maintaining the traditional Browning appearance without adding extra weight. Check them out at browning.com. Browning, the best there is. This episode brought to you by Leupold Optics. The folks at Leupold have been manufacturing top-notch glass for over 100 years. They're a family-owned business just like mine, and that's why I'm so proud to partner with them to bring you these genuine conversations. If you're in the market for a rifle scope, look at the VX5 HD series. The VX5 HD line of scopes are the workhorse for the backcountry hunter. While you're at it, don't forget to check out the Leupold's full line of range-finding binos, regular binos, and their spotting scopes that are second to none and field-tested in some of the hardest conditions on Earth. The Leupold Gold Ring is the gold standard. Not to mention, in an extremely unlikely event that your Leupold glass has a hiccup, Leupold offers a lifetime guarantee that won't let you down. Leupold, be relentless. This episode is sponsored by SecureIt, the gun storage system. Have you ever wondered the best way to store your guns, ammo, and actually all your valuables? There is a fine line between safety and accessibility. There's also something to be said about being able to customize your safe for your needs. If you're storing long guns, handguns, ammo, or just need a wall to hang your equipment on, SecureIt has your back. They have cabinets, rooms, and everything in between. SecureIt safes are simple, strong, straightforward, and, by the way, they don't keep your combination codes. SecureIt. So, Aron Snyder, obviously a face for radio. Oh, no. A face inside the bow hunting industry.
I'm working on it. I shaved. I got my hair. I did my best this time. So
yeah. You look awesome.
I'm trying.
We're in Salt Lake at the Hunt Expo, which is fun. You got a new gig?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Clothing. So we do a lot more than that. But my technical title is director of Born Primitive Outdoor. I don't really do what a director would do. It sounds good, and I do have final say on pretty much everything, but their main focus when they brought me on board was, I'd already been working for them for a couple years, so it was just designing and testing the clothing, but really, we want to focus on the academy, which is schools. So teaching land nav, which most people don't know how to do. Kurt, who's my partner in crime over there, he was Tier 1 guy for many, many years, but he's kind of a bushcraft guy too. So primitive skills, wilderness living, basically how to not suck in the outdoors. So
how to not get dead.
Yeah. So we'll have YouTube, but we'll actually have courses you can sign up and attend. So that was another thing that they, really wanted me to focus on.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Well, so is it going to be it's going to be an in-person thing?
Little of everything. So we'll have a YouTube page that'll kind of get you going. And then we may end up doing actually a Patreon for some of the classes just take a lot of money to, or to film, which we did. It took 7 days to film a land nav course.
Wow.
That one we may charge for, but then you would get it free if you signed up for a boots on the ground course. But with some of the courses we've done, I kind of take it for granted. I know you do, but actually finding an animal, like how to glass.
Yeah.
So we set up 3D targets from anywhere from 400 to 2,000 yards out. And we stick your ass behind a spotter and glasses, and I'm like, okay, you got 3 hours. Find as many targets as you can, and there'll be optics. There may be a SIG rangefinder under one of those. There may be NL Pures under another. And so once we teach you how to do that, then we teach you how to assess what the wind's doing, the route, how to go in and kill it, and then we grade you like stalking.
Right.
And it is an eye-opener how much people are loud and don't know what they're doing. And these are people like, they have amazing gear, they're hunters, but it's like when we're grading you, we'll have a guy on the target, and every time he can hear you, he'll be like, nope. And then people are like, you can hear that? And I'm like, well, if he can hear it, a deer can hear it. So if you're wondering why you've hunted mule deer 6 times and haven't killed anything, this might be your problem, or one of them. Yeah. So we do that, plus lots of other stuff. Plus with all the tier 1 dudes over there, like we do long range shooting as well, and stuff I don't get involved in. So
that's really cool. Yeah. So that's more than just clothing. You guys are doing schooling, which is really neat. Really neat. So let's talk a little bit about Aron Snyder and where you grew up and high school, and obviously you had a military career.
Yeah, it was a wild trip. So I'm from, my hometown's like 200 people in Oregon. So the easiest way to explain it is where like the Pacific Crest Trail runs from Canada to Mexico. That's like 15 minutes maybe east of where I'm at, probably a little more than that. 15 to 30 minutes east of where I'm from. It's called
right
Detroit.
On the coast.
No, I'm central. That trail runs central.
Well, I was thinking it was the coastal range.
Cascade Mountain Range. So I was like right in the Cascade Mountain Range. Detroit Lake.
Okay.
It's like 9 miles long. And, I posted a meme the other day about, how did you get good at hunting? And then below it shows a red rider and a bird. I mean, when there's only 200 people in your hometown, you're an hour from anything. I did a lot of hood rat shit. Like I say that, but like, there wasn't a lot of rules back then. And so, it wasn't BB gun wars and, trying to like, remember those hammocks that you'd buy that were like nets?
Yeah.
We would take those, and then when the salmon would run, this is all I can't get in trouble over, but we would build our own little dams and net those salmon. I mean, we do all, so I was fishing and hunting.
You were kids. I'm sure you weren't real good at
it. We got pretty good as we got older. But yeah, so I mean, as time went, but I got really good at, just being outdoors. I picked mushroom, like chanterelles, morels, gamakatsus. I picked mushrooms to afford school clothes. So split firewood. So anyway, when I was a freshman, they had like a youth conservation corps program for the Forest Service, and it was really to just go clean shitters at the state park. And the trail,
it's called child labor.
Yeah, it was like $3.05 an hour back then. And the trail crew team, the local trail crew team, so they'd hike the wilderness trails, clear them off. They were like, they wanted some cheap labor, so they picked me and Adam Crowfoot up to out of all the kids, and that's when I pretty much became a man, because I didn't know what being a man was. So we hiked 5 to 10 miles a day with crosscut saws and axes, wedges, loppers, and
those are big trees. They're not
big trees.
They're big trees.
Volkswagen trees. So, like whatever. Not to be like, I hiked uphill both ways or whatever when I went to school, but like nowadays compared to back then, it's just different, and I think the world is probably showing that. But at 14 years old, when your saw gets stuck, in it it's a 2-man crosscut saw. We also had singles, but you're using an axe to chop a tree down the size of a Volkswagen to get your saw back.
Right.
So you could be doing that for 8 to 12 hours to get that out of the way.
Get one saw out.
And so I did that 3 months a year, or 3 months for the whole summer. Went straight into daily doubles and football. I like to pretend of an athlete, played sports. But that was kind of how I got into backpack hunting, was the trail crew team. Because, my dad was a bit of an alcoholic. That's an understatement. My dad drank a lot. Like, I don't even remember him drinking or driving sober. So
you're like, you can do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You were 16 going, this is weird.
Yeah, so like we, road hunting was kind of the thing, right? And so when we started doing those wilderness trips where we would backpack in, not just day hike, I went into some of the areas on that Pacific Crest Trail, and there was bench legs, right? Like black-tailed mule deer bench legs, and giant, not Roosevelt's east of I-25, but Roosevelt's.
Right.
And I was like, man, there's no one back here, and whatever. And I was like, this is the way to do it. That's really what got me into like backpack hunting.
So did you do that with your buddies?
Yeah, I did a lot by myself. Like, I don't know, I didn't give my mom a heart attack, so it wasn't uncommon for me to head out for 4 or 5 days on my own when I was 16 and backpack in. And I had 1 or 2 buddies that are pretty crazy. Jason Heft, if he listens to this, he and I did some crazy crap together like that. So the thing is like, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Right.
And so that kind of a childhood, I probably bitched about it at the time, it made me tough, right? I mean, it made me, like my neighbor, not to tell stories of how good I am at splitting firewood, but I was in trouble a lot, and we only had a wood stove, right? So my neighbor now had a log truck dump off a bunch of logs, and I walked over. I was like, hey, I need the exercise. Do you need help splitting firewood? He's like, yeah, if you want to. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help. I think we split 6 cords in a day.
Jeez, by axe or with a
maul.
Wow.
With a maul. Yeah, and for me, it's working out now. It's like I'll pay somebody to split my firewood. It sounds horrible, but I'm not real big on manual labor anymore. So, but I went over there and I was splitting firewood, and he was like, "Did you have a wood stove as a kid?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, this is all I did." So we'd get done with the trail crew, and you'd have to split it for my uncle, my grandpa. So anyway, it made me tougher. So that was good. But I'm a fire splitting professional. I would say I have a PhD in splitting firewood. So yeah,
thousands of cords of firewood.
Good Lord. I mean. The shit of it is, when I joined the Army, my parents bought a pellet stove. I'm like, what the fuck?
They didn't have labor anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so I joined. I didn't really know what I was going to do, so I joined the Army in I think I signed up in 94, went in 95. And it's funny because when you're from a small town, and I see it in Riverton, you think you're tough.
Yeah.
And I woke up really fast. I'm not that tough, right? So went into basic training in Fort Leonard Wood. I was a 12 Bravo. I was Leonard Wood's a normal basic training AIT or whatever, and then I went to, was funny, I wanted to go to Lewis, and I did not. I went actually point to point as far away from Lewis as you could. When they announced it, the whatever, they yell your name, and you're just a piece of shit. It's a lot easier now, but back then I was on the tail end of when they could still hit you. But they're like, Snyder, Fort Drum. And I'm like, Fort Drum? I've never even...
What do they do
Fort
there?
Drum, yeah. And one of their drill instructors, because by that time they're cool with you, and he walked up. He's like, look, bro, it's cold as shit in Fort Drum. And I'm like, where is it? He's like, it's New York. So I'm thinking New York City.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it's way
There's
north.
There's a whole lot of New York that is not New York City.
It's up by the Adirondacks. So I went up there, and it was as cold as everybody said. When Braveheart came out, we rented Braveheart at the or PX, and started Braveheart. And you were all poor. My buddy had a Malibu car or something. It was covered by the end of Braveheart. It was a foot an hour, like lake effect snow.
Gosh.
So we'd snowshoe to the Chow Hall and stuff. But
you want to know what it looks like? Go watch a Buffalo Bills game.
Yeah. So yeah, I was there. I was in Fort Drum for a while. And when you're there in Drum, that was 18th Airborne Corps. And at that time, Clinton was in office, but there was still a lot of training. So I was fortunate enough. Bruno, who I work for, he was in. So they actually had a jungle operation training center back then, or whatever, in Panama, because we were still focusing on in Vietnam. So I went and spent 6 months or whatever down in the jungle, which I don't.
In Panama?
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. I was lucky. I went to Germany, trained with German mountaineering team. I got to travel a lot and train a lot, and then I ended up getting. I'm kind of condensing this. I was in a fairly bad explosion, and I did a podcast about this. So oddly enough, I'm bouncing around like a squirrel. I was stationed with in Korea after Drum. I went to Korea, and I was stationed with a dude. His name's Sergeant Tetrald. He's an amazing guy. But we would get pissed drunk off Old Milwaukee and piss our pants in a turtle ditch, drunk, nothing else to do. So. But he was
drunk unless you pissed your pants. I've been drunk twice.
So we, so that, he was a higher enlisted than I was, but he had let me, I hung out with him and other people I probably shouldn't have been, hanging out with, and became good friends with him. But then I got and went to Fort Carson. We never really stayed in communication. Cell phones and social weren't a thing in the 90s, right? And so fast forward 15, 20 years, I'm in Washington doing a seminar, and he came up, started talking to me. I was like, holy shit, Ted, what are you doing, dude? And he was either a command sergeant major or anyway, he was 30 years in.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
just getting out. And so he and I are still friends to this day, but he was there when I'd gotten blown up. So when I went to Carson, I ended up getting medically discharged. What I ended up getting, migraines. I was getting...
Really?
I still got them. It was something I didn't have to deal with ever, and then I just started getting these crazy migraines. So oddly enough, fast forward to 4 years ago, I got on TRT, testosterone replacement, because just from so many concussions, and I never got a migraine again. Yeah, so,
really?
Yeah, it's weird because like,
and it has to be that. It's not like you changed something else in your life.
No, it's so, for whatever it caused, stick in my blood or whatever else. But I mean, the migraine thing was like, and I don't really whine or most people don't know I get migraines, and I don't now, but like it was one of those deals where like vomiting uncontrollably, like blacked out for 2 days, and so for anybody listening that gets migraines really understands like it was a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a big problem. And back then we hadn't went through GWOT. There wasn't 20 years of war, so literally they were like, fuck off, we don't care,
right?
So I did that podcast with him, and I had it was very
is that can you listen to that podcast now?
Yeah, it's on Kafaru Cast, but it's with Steve Tetrault and Sergeant T. But it was cool because obviously him being as high ranking as he was, the amount of people that reached out that said they would take care of me in the VA was amazing because I kind of got the shaft a little bit. The problem is now is like the amount of dudes that I hang out with and circle myself with and the military training stuff. I work with the military now training. I couldn't do it. When I say that, like I didn't, like I have friends that are really jacked up, and so I'm like, I've led a pretty good life, and I'm fine, and I don't get migraines now. So it was cool that people had reached out. So I got out of the Army and had no idea what I was going to do. I don't have the right temperament to be a cop, and so I went and worked at an archery range for a while, and a dude walked in that I'd set his bow up, and he had asked me like, "Hey, you were in the Army?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just got out." And he's like,
This is in Colorado.
Colorado, yep, in Denver. And I was living in Colorado Springs. We ended up moving to Denver, but I think his brother was a general or something, and he was like, "Well, man, I'll give you a job. I do commercial glass," which I didn't know what the fuck that was. I was like, glass, which the job I had really nothing to do with glass. But anyway, he gave me a job, and he paid me probably more than he should. He took very good care of me. His name was Kevin Kavanaugh, a lot of different schools and caulking, low voltage electric, whatever. So that was my career, right? And I'm not afraid of heights, so like hanging off a swing stage or a Bolson's chair, aerial platforms didn't bug me. So
putting windows in. Yeah,
and windows is a smaller piece, really. Like my specialty was like very intricate Euro shower doors, like all glass shower doors, like wine cellars or whatever, like and curtain wall. Curtain wall was my big thing. So those giant glass walls.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of my specialty. So the problem I spent too much time in the woods, and somewhere in there I got a divorce and tried to live in Texas. Didn't go well, right? I made it like 6 months, and I was broke.
I didn't know you moved to Texas after that.
A lot of people, everybody. I would say I'm one of the more misunderstood people in the outdoor industry for sure. But like, I don't talk a lot about this stuff. I don't really tell people I was in the military for the most part. I mean, I don't, put vet or I just kind of do my thing. Well, that's when I got all roided out, right? So I was a mountain hunter, right? And then I went to Texas, and there's nothing to do, and so I'm like, I'm just going to get big as shit, right? And so
nothing to do. I'll hit the gym like I'm in prison.
I did, yeah. And so I was doing glass work in I almost said Mexico, in Texas, but it doesn't pay well. And so literally I had people I'd train in the gym that would come to my little apartment, which was about from, the width of this squared. And I didn't really have furniture. I just had the floor and a lot of books. And I just worked out. I'd go to like the bookstore and read and shit. So anyway, somewhere in the middle of all that, I ended up getting to about 280 pounds powerlifting.
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
I've seen photos. You look like the Rock Man.
I got big. So I mean, and you'll see guys now like haters post like I'm a roided out dude, and it's like, no, this is not me. I promise this is not me roided out. But I was eating about to maintain that size, 8,000 to 12,000 calories a day. So my work lunchbox was like a big Coleman cooler. And for people to like compute that, I ate a dozen eggs every morning. I'd eat a bowl of oatmeal with like half a jar of peanut butter. I mean, I knew where everybody's plunger was. I shit so much. Like, it was crazy. So I got all jacked up and huge, and then I'm like, I can't live here. I felt horrible because I love my kid. My kid's great. She's 23 now. I'm a grandpa now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Where does she live?
Texas. She moved back to Texas. So anyway, I'm talking too much here, but so I was like, I can't make it. So I literally, what the deciding factor was with that is I thought in the apartment I was paying for that the utilities were paid for. And so
6 months, all of a sudden, the electricity goes click.
Everything shut off. And so I'm like, what am I going to, and people see where I'm at now and I get to do a lot of cool stuff. I just got my shit together recently. It was just a few years ago, right? So when I say I was poor, like when I tell stories about sleeping on an air pad, like a thermarest, that's not a fabrication. That's a very true story.
What happened.
For 10 years, I slept on a thermarest air pad. And so like now you go to my house, I've got 30 sets of binoculars, 8 spotters, 14 tents, whatever. Like at that time, I had one pair of pants that I could wear backpacking, right? It was a very simple decision. There wasn't like, wow, what do I need to wear for the camera today? It was like, let me just grab the one set of pants I have. So I literally woke up, drove over to my ex's house and said, I'm going back. I loaded everything I owned, fit very neatly in a Nissan Frontier truck. Not a 4-door, the shitty extended cab where if you have to ride in the back, you got screwed.
You don't fit.
Yeah, you're in the fucking back. So anyway, I drove and I met up with Clint Westerberg. He had a glass shop, Skyline Glass, and I met up with him. He hired me right there. And I went from making like $15.50 an hour to like 30-something an hour, so that was a good raise.
I can pay utilities.
Live and hide on the hog at that point. So the one thing, like out of all this that I've tried to stress is some of the best times in my life. I had an apprentice named Jeremy Troxel. He's a big fan of your guys'. He and I had an amazing time with no money. I mean, in 08 and 09, that was the Depression. Like we went from 100 and some employees to 9.
Oh my gosh.
And we made it, right? I mean, they're back to where they were, but that was the deal, like being resourceful, because I get a lot of crap now. Like I think people think I have wealthy parents or whatever, which is not the case.
It's actually you just live on nothing.
It's like, don't get bills, don't have 14 kids unless you really want to, don't get a jacked up truck. Like, I would buy sweet potatoes, slice them up, microwave them, wrap them in aluminum foil. We'd grab some cans of tuna, and off we'd went, build a fire, throw the sweet potato, and
warm them up again.
Yeah, warm them up. And so, but some of the best times of my life were we were trying to like afford gas money. I mean, not great as, probably not the most adult thing to do, but I mean, we spent a ton of time, and me being the boss, like I would figure out the hours bit into a job, and I'd make sure we were ahead. And we would just take off Friday. We wouldn't come to work. I would tell the GC, like, hey, dude, we won't be here Friday. It's elk season.
We hit our 40 like Wednesday afternoon.
And we were just ahead on budget of the amount of, like, the man hours into the job. And so, I mean, I got to hunt a ton. And, and this is public land OTC, hunting. Yeah. And, going through all of that, the day, and I'm kind of fast forwarding, but the day I had decided to, I say golden handcuffs, I made like $90,000 a year, which is for labor at that time really good, that I was going to try to make it in the outdoor industry. I've told this story before, but it's crazy. I was running the glass shop for a while, but I had taken a lot of time off. Like I would not come into work, but I was good enough at what I did that they couldn't fire me.
Yeah.
But eventually they're like, hey, dude, you're going to have to stay all year. You're going to have to step down. And so I kind of stepped down as a fixer. Like I just would fix people's problems, go help lay out curtain wall or whatever. Anyway, the day I thought all night, like to try to make it in the industry. And that my version of make it in the industry is much different than what people's version is now. Instagram and that, there was no like the titty pic thing. You weren't going to make a living off of TikTok, right? I was going to write articles, guide, do whatever I had to do. And I ripped my bicep off that day that I was going to quit. And so big piece of glass and just popped it, right? Handing it up.
Oh my gosh.
And so I went through, I'd never been injured. I'd never been unemployed. I certainly didn't have insurance. You get pretty crafty when you don't have insurance, how to fix problems that you have, injuries. So, but you go having around the shop. I went and took my piss test, because they won't, like if you test positive, they're not going to take care of it. So I had learned like, okay, I get less money untaxed while you're on workman's comp, and I go to physical therapy. And so at the end of all that, I'm healed up. The only thing that was crappy about that, I missed a brown bear hunt with Clay Lancaster.
Okay.
And so I still to this day haven't killed a brown bear, but that's supposed to happen this year. So the day I go to get released, I didn't know you get money from being injured, right? Because I was healed. So the lady she and I became friends, she called me. She's like, hey, you'll be released next week. You get 15 grand, whatever. And I was like, wait, I get
what?
money? And me being me, I'm like, wait, I'm fine. And she's like, no, you get, it's standard. And then I think I got 10 grand more if I signed this waiver that said I won't keep coming back. Because when you learn that system, once you've been in it, you learn that there's a lot of kind of maybe piece of shit people that'll milk that
Loopholes
system.
for people. Yeah.
They'll never have to work again.
Right.
And I was like, but I can use my normal insurance if I have it. Yeah. And anyway, so that was another 10 grand. I had sold a few designs I think I wrote some articles for you guys at the time. So I had some money for me. At that time, I probably had 40 grand saved up, which that's
a lot.
That's a lot for me, right?
Yeah.
So that is how I started in the outdoor industry. Patrick brought me on at a very low amount with Kafaru after that, and that's actually about that same time when I met Patrick at Kafaru. That was probably 2012, give or take. And then
It's about the time I met you.
yeah, same time. And then in 2014, I'd been working for Patrick kind of from the ground up, like, worked for free for quite a while, made a little money, and then in 2014, I had gotten back from the Northwest Territories working with Clay, and they made me president and CEO or whatever. And then, and I mean, through all that time, obviously, somewhere in there, I picked up a recurve, and I've always written articles and got to hunt a bunch, but I'm not
You have
definitely
a South Cox recurve, don't you?
I got a bunch, man. I've got one from South. South and I are really good friends. We're going to go. They're having us be combined the keynote speakers for the United Bow Hunters of Illinois.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, usually it's one person. So I'm going to let him do all the talking. Actually, he's got actual.
I've seen you on stage at the Wyoming Bow Hunters. Bullshit. You both do a lot of talking.
yeah, no kidding. But I picked up the recurve and. In the middle of that, and that probably got me some more notoriety because I think there was a lot of people kind of waiting for me to fail with that, and did pretty good with that. But through all that entire time, I was able to spend legitimately 100 to 200 plus days in the field all that time, and I'd done guiding off and on and stuff. So I think I'm probably mostly known for backpack hunting and gear more than anything, but that's like the shortest condensed version I can tell up till about 2016 of my life, I guess.
And then you can't talk after 16 till 2025?
No, I just I talk so much I didn't know if you want me to keep going.
Yeah.
So
No, this is really interesting. I think there's a lot of people out there like myself that didn't know most of that. I knew you were in the military, but I didn't know you got blew up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What country was that? Was that in Korea?
Korea, yeah.
Was it?
And it wasn't it was
We obviously weren't at war then, so
no,
it must have been an
combat
accident.
Yeah, it was listening to the full story on the other podcast about a dude who was a E8, when you shoot an inert, so you fire, blow demo up, Bangalore, C4, whatever all the time. When you have an inert AT4, there's blue around it, and we're doing a training class. And at that time, I had come from a light infantry unit, and I was in a line unit, into Korea, where you get a mix of. It's a hardship tour, like nobody wants to go to Korea. And the dude grabbed a live one and was showing some other people how to fire it. And we weren't paying attention because I was just unloading shit. Anyway, he fired it off, and I was from me to you behind it. And it's got a 35 meter kill radius behind it, and so it fucked me up pretty good. I got a big lump here from where I had swelled up. My head's fat already, so. But that's basically what happened. He'd fired that off, and I they just kind of send you back, give you some Motrin, and send you back in or whatever. So pierced my eardrum on my left side. But Tetrault was the one that really was like, because I had re-enlisted and everything else. I was planning on making a career of it, and he was the one that really was like, dude, don't get out. Like, this is not go hunt. Like, you need to get out of the military. Like, you need to go do what you love. So he was the one that really probably urged me, like, more than anyone, like, don't enlist again, finish your second enlistment up.
So you've had a lot of really good mentors throughout your life.
Bruno asked me that yesterday. I mean, for as much of a knucklehead as I am and have been, like, nobody taught me to elk hunt, right? I didn't have a mentor with that. and nobody taught me certain things like backpack hunting. I just kind of figured it out. But as far as like some, sage advice at times, I've definitely, had that. And
I think that's successful, and I think people need to seek that, especially guys.
The one thing I've learned, I learn as much from the dudes I work with in the military as they learn from me, is like what's probably, and I'm, just as bad about this, but, putting your ego on the table. And if I sit down and talk to you and it's a very uncomfortable conversation for growth, right? That is not to make you feel bad. That is to make you a better human. And those guys, if I do something wrong on a training deal, they'll sit me down and we'll hash it out, right? And it took me, part of it, you just get older and you grow up, but
right. It's called wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Years.
Yeah, wisdom and knowledge, right? And so like when you are kind of progressing in life or whatever, there's going to be people that are just naturally gifted at certain things. And like me, because when I pick something up as a hobby, it's not a hobby. Like I'm psychotic, like with the stick bow or fly fishing or photography. But other things that I don't like filing my taxes. Not good at that.
Well, there is that.
Yeah. So like with archery or everything else, it's one of those things that how my brain works. Like when I picked up the stick bow, it was more of a challenge. I had gotten a lot of hate from the traditional community. And I was like, basically I'm using technology for an advantage. And so me being me, I'm like, screw you guys. So I sold all my compounds, picked up a stick bow. They were pretty much right. I was definitely using technology to my advantage. But I was just psychotic about that thing for 6-7 years, where I just went on a tear of, doing crazy stuff with the stick bow. And then I get bored. The way my brain works, I've got to constantly be doing,
trying to master something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I picked up the compound again, and there was people that thought that was great, and others that didn't like it. But I have to constantly be doing something to challenge my brain. And so, like right now, I foresee me fly fishing a lot because I really like fishing, and it's something I haven't been able to do as much as I wanted to.
You live in a really good place for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm finding that out.
You live less than 50 miles where I grew up.
Yeah.
And
in every direction, it's good. Like, there's good fishing.
That's one of the things, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but one of the things that my family does is we love to fly fish. That's what we do in the summer.
Well, I don't think anybody knew I knew how to fly fish. Like I
didn't know that till today, and we start jawing about rivers where you live, and I went, holy crap, you're fly fishing this, because there's no way you're going to spin fish that river.
Yeah,
it's
and
shallow.
I got to give credit to Dan, because I'm not a nymphing guy, right? I was a dry fly guy.
Yeah.
And I use sink tip, sometimes salmon and steelhead, but for the most part, I'm like a Alpine Lake backpacking fly guy, dry fly guy. So every now and then I'd run a dry dropper, but that's not the same as nymphing.
Yeah.
So Dan rigs this 11-foot monstrosity up. I'm like, dude, I got a 5-weight. Like, I got to yard that out. And he's like, no, it's fine. And I got a good fly rod. But I got to throw a shout out to Orvis. Like, they have been really cool working with me, knowing I'm getting into fly fishing recently.
Which rods are theirs?
I got a Helios D 9'5", 5-weight, Helios D 6-weight, 9-foot, and a 4-weight 10-foot. And I ordered a Flycraft raft.
Yeah, those things are cool. They're a little tippy, but they're perfect for the river that you're on.
Yeah.
They're narrow enough you can go down through the side channels.
Yeah, and believe me, I took my my Dennis Clackacraft through and quickly learned that I need to work on rowing, because that's something I hadn't done a lot of. So I can powerhouse row as far as threading the needle. I beat his boat up a little bit the first couple times I ran it without him, to a point I got out and was like, okay, I gotta respect this guy's raft, and I just had knee surgery, so I'm like, don't blow my knee out. My girlfriend will kill me, so I'm dragging my raft, or they're dragging that thing through. But like the fly fishing deal, the thing is, you only have so much time, right? And so I kind of, with these changes in my life recently, was like, look, I'm gonna, whether social media loves it or not, or whatever else, like I'm gonna do some things I haven't been able to do for a while, especially with where I live. So I'm definitely gonna hit up fly fishing. The thing is like, with where I'm at, I can hit a river one day, I can hit the bear bait the next day, I can backpack into the high country and bear hunt the next day, and then I can backpack into an alpine lake the day after that. Like some of the alpine lake fishing in Wyoming.
Dude, you have, where you live?
Yeah.
That range has some of the best backpack fly fishing in the country.
So I didn't fly fish this. I had got some intel from a dude about this lake, and It's a horrible hike. Like, when I say horrible, the first time we hiked in, I had 48 pounds. The second time I hiked into it, I had 28 pounds in my pack. It's like 3 or 4 miles straight up. It's like 9 to 11 miles in. But I got on the edge, and I was throwing out a Rapala. And I usually run like a 6-foot, 4-piece, fast action, lightweight, ultralight. So I run 4-pound tests on everything in the high country. I usually run fluoro. Not to get into fishing, but anyway. So I cast out a Rapala countdown, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm like, I get to 40, it hasn't hit the bottom, and I'm like, this is the deepest lake. So I had run ahead of everyone because I'm still at almost 50 like a kid, right? So we hit these switchbacks down to the lake, and granola heads are gonna hate it. I just cut trail, boom, just straight down. I get to the lake, drop my pack, and I'm pretty smoked, but like so I rig up quick. And literally, when the crew got to the lake, I'm yelling, "Help!" I didn't bring a net, right? And I hardly ever bring a net into the. Usually, you're catching like
you will. You will now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I learned quick. Like, help!
You're used to Colorado backcountry.
Yeah,
different place.
Little brookies. And I mean, I'd yarded in like a 24-inch. I think it was a cut bow.
Really?
It was a so, but it didn't. That continued through the whole trip. I mean, we were yarding in huge fish. So we hiked into that thing 3 or 4 more times, through the next few weeks. But again, I go to BC every year and guide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually had I fell in a boulder field, and I had a blood pocket between my chest and heart, and dislocated a rib. And dude,
in BC this happened?
No, this was at that lake.
Okay.
And I'm getting ready to go to BC. Now, anybody that deals with any man that says, "Hey, I'm injured," early, that means you're not coming. So I didn't want to tell anyone that I was injured. So I had got to go to know the local community of I just had knee surgery. Dr. Lamlin and his partner Ben Francisco. Ben was the guy I saw about my chest, and then I went over to the chiropractor, and he kind of cracked me and hooked some electrical crap, and they dry needled me and got me back in business because, dude, I couldn't. Like, if I sneezed, I pissed my pants. Like, it was horrible. So I got to know everybody from that. But literally, that lake was amazing. But then I went up with Bart Lancaster at North River to do stone sheep, and I've done that the last few years or whatever. I usually leave like mid to late July. I come back. It kind of screws up my season. Like this year, I've definitely been advised that I should guide way less and hunt way more. Just people like seeing me hunting more than guiding. But passing up guiding stone sheep and goats is pretty hard to do. Yeah. I had to get a little of that in. I was actually lucky enough. Troy Link, the Jack Links guy.
Yep.
That was me and Bart's first client.
Okay.
He brought his 11-year-old daughter, and I was like, "Bart, this is not a good idea." He's like, "Dude, you got to make sure she's safe, right?" And Troy ended up being an amazing dude. We shot Boone at 2.
Yeah,
we doubled up on Boone and Crockett stones, and I can't afford that shit, right? I mean, it's $125,000 now for a stone. Yeah, each. And but I was able. Bart, the Lancasters and I are really good friends. Bart and I had like 4 days off, and I brought my bow, and I wanted to goat hunt. I don't know if you saw that goat I shot.
did.
It was a monster. So
yeah.
Bart has to poop. Like, we get dropped off, and we're hiking up over this mountain range, and up there's not maps really to speak of. We got like a screenshot of Google Earth to figure shit out. So we go up over Mongolia, right? And so he's got a shit. So I get on the spotter and immediately see 2 donkeys. And I'm used to Colorado goats.
Right.
Colorado does nanny-only tags and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking, and I'm like, those are both 50-plus inch goats. Bart is an awesome. I don't know if you know Bart very well. But
I know who he is. I know his dad better.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Stan's awesome too. And I knew Clay first, and then Bart and I, like, we may start up our own outfit. But anyway, Bart's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Dude, are those as big as," he's like, "Those aren't bitch goats, dude." He's like, "They're as big." I'm like, "Those are 350-pound goats." So one of them was like real wide, which is not characteristic of a goat.
Right.
And so we look at it, and Bart knows I can shoot. He's seen me do some shit with a bow. So anyway, we go over, and I loop around, and Bart's parallel to the goats. I go up and around them, and it's raining. Like, we're talking like pitchforks and mop handle, just piss and rain. Bart's like, "Look, the one up higher is bigger." And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to shoot the wide one." He's like, "The other one's like bigger." So he knew what I was going to do. I rolled up. You couldn't have planned the stock, but there was a boulder the size of a Humvee that I had to walk to. So, like, literally, I walked like I was walking to Walmart to this boulder, and I'm like,
peek around, he's on the other side?
No, Bart told everybody on the planet what the distance was. So I look, he's bedded, and I grab my binos, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the wide one." But I know the the one he wants me to shoot is like 28 to 30 yards from me, but I can't see it. So if I would have had a recurve, or if I cared, I would have waited, right? But no, I knocked up and I shot. It was raining so hard, the first shot could have been scapula or could have been moss, right? And so I'm like, and I've been on a lot of goat hunts. I mean, we were trying to figure out the other day, 50 plus goat hunts. So they can do some miraculous thing with 3 legs. So
yes,
they're
a tough animal.
I'm a quiver empty guy, right? So I just I drop the sight. I mean, the photos and the photos look like I was launching 200-yard bombs because my sight is maxed out. The first shot was, Bart listed it. I think it was like, I hit it and I smoked it the first shot, but it was like 87, 132, 136, and 137 because I was just dropping them. And then, but I was hitting it. But I had, with Bart, had a big goat, drop 2,000 feet. So I'm like, let loose the beast, right?
Yeah.
So I can hear Bart laughing because, I mean, he's watching me just hammer this thing, and I can hear him go, "Stop shooting." I can't see. He's watching in the binos. I'm just wadding arrows into this thing. So I after this happens, the other one stands up, and I'm like,
damn it,
I might have fucked up. Yeah. So I get down to mine, and I can hear Bart, "Are we happy?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're happy." And it was 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4.
Oh,
I think
nice.
It was 11, 12 years old. So it hit it hit. I mean, it's in the, pretty high. If I had it scored, it's pretty high. But the other one, it fucked off. So I'm like, that was bigger. So we actually went in there this year. I took my ex-wife now in there to try to kill that thing. When we didn't, she ended up shooting a Boone and Crockett goat as well. But like, that place is epic for,
really?
I mean, that North River area is, I mean, if you want to book a goat or a stone hunt, North River Outfitters there, I mean, that place is amazing.
Is it, so how physical is it? I mean, does it have to be as physical as what you guys did? Today's sponsor is Forever Barnwood. Guys, we have been using this in our renovation of our building here in Powell, Wyoming, and I am here to tell you it is amazing. They are a premier supplier of barnwood across the U.S. Their products come from fresh-cut Wisconsin white pine, which has been kiln-dried way below standard lumber and hand-processed into various products like barn doors, beams, flooring, and wall covering. This type of lumber product provides all of the advantage of reclaimed barnwood at a fraction of the cost, not to mention how easy it is to work with because it's straight lumber and it doesn't have all the waste. Their barnwood products are a renewable resource and come in a variety of widths and lengths, large sizes for countertops, beams, posts, stairs, and railing systems, as well as wall covering and everything else. Their prices are only a fraction of the cost elsewhere, and they can ship anywhere you need it. With their innovative barnwood products, you'll have the right piece at the right time for your special project. So check them out at foreverbarnwood.com. And no matter what your project is, Forever Barnwood has you covered. This episode is sponsored by SecureIt, the gun storage system. Have you ever wondered the best way to store your guns, ammo, and actually all your valuables? There is a fine line between safety and accessibility. There's also something to be said about being able to customize your safe for your needs. If you're storing long guns, handguns, ammo, or just need a wall to hang your equipment on, SecureIt has your back. They have cabinets, rooms, and everything in between. SecureIt safes are simple, strong, straightforward, and, by the way, they don't keep your combination codes. SecureIt.
That hunt wasn't that bad. Rewind or fast forward. So I try to, with my ex-wife now, to plan a hunt for her. And I picked that spot because it was easy. She folded up like a cheap suit. She's not used to underbrush. It can be like Derek Wolf. When I bought him, I purposely just wanted to kick him right in the ding-ding. So we had like 11 miles. Like, and you don't have to do alders. Yeah, worse than that. But yeah. Moose Swamp and alders. But you don't have to make a goat hunt that hard. But if you want the experience, right, you can make it pretty hard. So with Derek, there was a spot. You ever see me cut that kid's head with a scalpel? That kid's hair. So that spot where Ralph and Vicky's kid shot that goat, that was a rough one, right? And I almost killed that kid. Like we Spartan kicked him at like 2 a.m. Like, dude,
really?
There's no staying the night here. Like, we got to get back. And he was just laying up on us. Really good kid. Yeah, I don't think he expected me to cut his hair with a scalpel because we bet. Because I said, hey, we're killing one on day one. He's like, how do you know? And I said, you don't have a day 2 in you.
Yeah.
We have to kill it on
This is
day
it.
1. So we're
going to burn everything today.
I took Derek in there. It's 11 miles in to get to that because I wanted to see what Derek had in the tank. They're not all like that, but yeah, they're pretty. They're hunts. I mean, they're definitely physical.
Derek killed a
hunts.
pretty good one too, didn't he?
He did. I screwed up to a certain degree when I say that. Like, that goat was the most deceiving goat because that goat's not that old. So when we shot it, I thought it was 12. It's 6, 7.
Yeah.
And I when I say that, I can't see the annual eye. It's got a giant horse face. It's 350 pounds. The goat was well over 10 inches. That goat, and I hope Derek doesn't listen to this podcast, that goat would have been a world record. And I've seen the world record, and we're not that far from there. So, and when we got up to it, I'm like looking at the base, like, am I missing some annual eye here? Like, and its teeth were decent shape. So it wasn't like a kid.
No.
But like when we
just became breeding age though.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't old, but
Yeah.
that goat made Boone and Crockett. And I say that we didn't have a panel score it, right? But when we killed it, I was like, dude, I'm coming over the top. I'm like, it's a good goat, dude. It's a good goat. And I get down there, and I'm like,
1, 2, I'm running out of rings.
Well, and then I'm looking at the base, and I'm like, those could be, but I was like, I'm not, because I had told him, I was like, dude, it's a good goat, kill it. But it just was one of those goats, like Andre the Giant at 24 years old was still 350 pounds, right? And so that goat he shot is a hammer. It's just what it would have been at 12 years old. I don't know. Kendall Card, I took him, and he shot a 13-year-old. I mean, there's old goats there. But like, when you're up there, the reason I like it so much is the adrenaline junkie in me. It's pretty hard to get that dopamine drip. So for me up there, I've got to use every skill set that I've learned. It's not just, you got to keep the client alive. There's a lot of physical fitness. You got to be able to judge. And, one of the things that, not to talk too much, but when you look at social media and who's the greatest hunters, what you really miss out, like people don't understand, is fitness is part of it. You got to be.
It's just
fit.
one of the tools in the box, though.
Yeah, and it's a very. I know a lot of fat guys that get some shit done. I'll tell you right now, like Ryan Rotier, runs Rotier Outfitting. He's not exactly the pinnacle of fitness. If my life was on the line and I had to have a guy with a bow kill a mule deer, he's probably my first choice, and he's not flipping tires over, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the most lethal guys I know, and he gets it done wherever he goes. The thing is what I think really gets overlooked, and one of the reasons I've been able to be so successful, and there's a giant elk behind us here, but that's like one of 4 I've shot in my career that are giant, but animal behavior, right? Like reading animals, right? And scoring animals and knowing what those animals are going to do it's kind of like diet and like nutrition and your workout. You can't outwork out a bad diet, right? If you know animal behavior, you can be a lot less fit than you take some of the guys that are really well known that run animals down. There's nothing wrong with that, but they're putting in, I would say, a multiplier of 4 to 6 times the effort that they would be if they knew, and I would be interested to get your feedback on that, if they knew animal behavior and how to read an animal.
It's not even just the effort. You're hamstringing yourself on your success.
Yeah, and everyone else because you're blowing all.
Because you're ruining entire basins.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. I will take knowledge over fitness every day because I know where that deer's going to go, or I know that we can come back tomorrow and find him, or I know, hey, here's this is the situation. We got to do this now because we're never going to see him again. Yeah. He's rutting. He's going to be 2 counties over tomorrow.
Well, and I talk to guys about like spring black bear.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, when they first come out of the den, you can kill them with a bow. They're looking for the most lush grass. They're going to get their pooper working again.
Yep.
After that, it's going to be a hard time, because they're moving. They're constantly moving.
They're looking for food sources.
Yep. And I mean, you'll watch a black bear in the high country move a mile in an hour, literally just rolling over.
And it looks
rocks,
like they're just screwing around.
Yep. And then pretty soon, so you're not going to, But as I say that, I'm one of the world's worst trophy hunters. But one of the reasons, like, guys, like, how do you kill elk so fast? I'm like, well, I'm shooting young, dumb ones, but I know where they're at, right? If I could keep it in my pants. But knowing what to do. Like one of the worst things for mule deers, I see guys go off after their first bed. And I'm like, look, man, he won't be there when you get there. And when you're looking for him, you're going to blow all of them out.
Right.
You got to go in on their second bed, right?
Yeah.
Second bed, I'm like, they're going to get up. They may lay 5 minutes. They may 15 or 30. They're getting up.
Yeah.
They're going to rebed, and that's when you kill them. Okay, do I go immediately? And I'm like, probably not immediately. You want them to be basically, dick down, like head down asleep when you go in on them. But the first time you see a deer, you're like, go, go, go. And so you'll get guys camp in the middle of the basin. Like there's a lot that happens. And so I think that, gear's important, not the end of the world. Fitness is important, not the end of the world. But knowing animal behavior and woodsmanship is way overlooked.
Stalking skills.
Yeah. Stalking's huge. Yeah. Well, and I learned that firsthand with a stick bow. Like I had to reinvent myself when it came to stalking.
So that's interesting. What's your thoughts on all the technology that's out there now? The ability. You said this when you went from compound to stick bow, that you were getting crap from guys going, no, you're just using the technology. What's your thoughts on, have we gone too far? Is there too far? Yeah,
I think we have. And when I say that, every one of those guys that I've found, almost every one of them uses Onyx or Spartan Forge.
Yeah.
Which is the worst. Far worse that, round up here, but far worse than any rangefinder or whatever else. And I say that I have it on my phone, and I'm a big fan of Spartan Forge. Mapping software is probably the worst, right? So
it's definitely changed hunting.
Oh,
if there was one thing in the last 50 years that has changed hunting, that's in the top 5.
Yeah,
rangefinders, turrets, slider sights.
I would put it in the top 3 for me. I would, and I'd say that right now, if we took away that, we took away rangefinders, because then if you take away rangefinders, the turret doesn't mean shit anyway, right? So you take away rangefinders. I don't care about turrets. Slider sights are adequate. Doesn't matter now.
And communication.
Yep, and the comms. And so, like, if you take that away, like, people have asked me, like, what happens if they take rangefinders away? I can judge well enough, but it's like, as long as it's an equal playing field, I'm good. But, people bring up wounding, and there's a chance, but honestly, people are so horrible at judging yardage, rifle and bow. I don't think wounding would be that big of a factor, because it's going to be a big miss. So I think we've gone too far, and this isn't my traditional side. This is the side of me that remembers when I was a kid, the good old days of hunting. And I think,
is that 20 or 25 yards?
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to guess and having, I think those skill sets would come back, and it wouldn't take long for them to come back, because we don't do it now because we have rangefinders. Mm-hmm. But back when, when I was a kid prior to rangefinders, we'd sit on the hill and you'd start screwing around. How far is that? How far is that?
Yeah. Well, rifle's the same. I mean, there's nothing worse than the client that shows up and says, just get me within 1,000. Old Betsy will take care of it. I'm like, we're fucked. This is going to be
the worst hunt
trip
ever.
Yeah, but the guy that doesn't really say anything, and we make jokes about it all the time, guy that shows up in Wranglers and a hoodie, I'm like, he shot some shit out of the back of a truck. He's a killer. So it's like, you
and some of it in front of a stoplight.
Oh, yeah, exactly, 100%. Well, yeah, the Wisconsin drive-by, right? Like, people are like, what's that? I'm like, you just start hunting? I'm like, that's where you hop out the back and dive in the ditch. That's the Wisconsin drive-by. They keep watching the truck. But, like, the hunting side of it, when I say gone too far, I'm not like a big advocate of, like, tear everything down
everything
or whatever.
Out.
I just, when people ask the question, like, cell phone game cameras.
Yeah.
They're cool. I mean, great. I don't have to walk out. I don't impede on anything. Cell phone game cameras in general. You go to Arizona, right? Like, you want to talk about Mortal Kombat hunting.
Oh, man.
Nothing better than seeing 27 freaking, on one trick take. On one, yeah. It's wild. So, like, you take a lot of that away. Like, how many people from, like, Mossback lost a job when they outlawed game cameras, right? Yeah, like, 6 guys probably. So, I mean, imagine the pile of game cameras in the back of their trucks they had to pull. And I don't have any issue with, like, whatever, but I think that it would make people maybe realize what they were out there for a little bit more, and also build up the woodsmanship, right? So when we teach land nav schools, everybody rolls up. They probably got some kind of a Garmin watch, right? And I'm wearing a Phoenix 8. So hit that top button right now. I'm going to get an 8-digit grid coordinate. I'm good to go. They'll have some inReach, right? They're going to have GPS possibly, and have no idea how to use any of it, but they can follow the little beacon on the phone, which isn't always accurate. So like on these courses, I'm like, what if you go down? or I go down. What do you do to call in for support? How do you give them a grid coordinate? Can you give them lat long? Can you convert? I'm not going to go into a thesis on this, but learning that is very, very important, and technology has taken away a lot of what I call the hard skills away. And so I'm for limiting it. I just don't think we can.
One of the funny things, and I've asked a lot of young hunters this stuff, is like, have you ever actually used a compass to navigate?
Oh, dude, like
I have no idea. I'm like, the generations that are coming after us, they don't even know the basic skills of a compass.
You ever watch like Pirates of the Caribbean with Jack Sparrow's compass that points to where you want to go? That's most of our students spinning in circles. I'm like, that it's not pointing to the direction you want to head. And so I'm like, hey, look, here's how you do it. You put the dog in the box. Like we have a whole, whatever curriculum. But I'm like, look, if you want to know how I can literally get anywhere faster than most people, it's because I don't look down. I have backstops and handrails of how I get in. And Kurt, my partner over there, he was a recce guy for years. And he's, the anal retentive dude that's a planner. And like if you slam the door of the truck and an elk bugles and it just ruins his day because all his plans are out the window, that's Kurt. He's a planner, right? And I mean, at a level that's unbelievable. But like, it's when you get taught by Kurt and I, you definitely have both sides of
both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, because I wing it. But I'm like, I'm telling these guys, like, look, if I've got to hike in and I know generally north, when I hike that I'm going to hit a massive creek around 3 to 4 miles, I'm just going to head generally north, hit that creek. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to do some train association. I'm going to be able to be like, okay, I'm a half mile off. That half mile I can make up because I can do about 4 miles an hour. I'm not far away from that. You have looked at your phone, head down, no situational awareness at all to get there, trying to pay attention where I just go. So there's a system that I use and we teach. But yeah, technology is it's definitely gone pretty far. I mean, and you guys know, like, what was the feasibility 20 years ago of making a 500-yard shot?
It was a lot less.
Yeah.
In fact, most people couldn't.
Yeah.
90% of guys couldn't shoot 500 yards.
And I mean, I can take a 3-toed sloth today and have them banging steel in about 5 minutes at 500.
Yeah.
And when I say that, like the technology that we have, like John Pinch, have you heard of him? He's a hammer. I mean, he's an amazing hunter, but he's one of the more well-known PRS, NRL shooters or whatever. I called him because I've got my SIG and Swaro and I'm getting everything like doped in. And I'm like, hey, man, give me some of these numbers. I don't know what they are. So get it all dialed in. And I've got a Viking armament rifle. So I'm a bow hunter. Now, I can shoot a gun, but I'm not geeked up on this. So, throw the sandbag down. That night, I shot a deer at 890 yards. That night. And again, it was a doe, and we were kind of just seeing if the dope was on. Guys will show up with no, what I'd say, hard skills, right? They show up. They've never really shot the gun. But whoever, I don't want to piss off any manufacturers, whatever manufacturer said, hey, here's the gun, here's the rangefinder, range it, it tells you what to dial, you're good. A lot of people head into the wild doing that and wound animals. So,
well, I know a group of guys in Wyoming. They're starting to look at the technology and figure out if there's a way to make this experience better, right?
Yeah.
And they did a study on a couple of outfitters' place that allowed long range hunting, and 30% of the animals that were shot at were wounded.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I don't know. But
so every guy is shooting 3 things.
Yeah.
3 animals. That's a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I mean, being on the guide's side of this thing, is like, well, and I took some abuse for this on the compound side from shooting things far away. I'm like, there's nothing against getting closer, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, we can scoot up.
It's called hunting.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, nothing. I mean, I'm very much for if you need the ability to lob a second round in from a distance, right? That's not bad. But the thing is, the closer you get, odds go up. Simple math. And so a 300-yard and in shot, I think, is really, really good. And most, like a 6.5 PRC, 300. I mean, there's a ton of calibers out there. Not a Creedmoor. I can't handle that abuse. But like, there's a lot of calibers out there where literally I zero at 200.
That's what
as a guide gun.
Yep.
You take a precision shooter. That's like sleeping with your sister. You just touch the boy's pee-pee, right? They don't. 100. What about the technology? And I'm like, look, if I zero at 2, 3 and in, they're going to hit it, right? Like it's easy. And so with the client, I'm not going to be able to reach down, dial the turret. Like I just want him shoot, right? And so like guiding, I'm not a big safety fan. Like I don't like safeties. And I mean I don't use them. So generally what I do when we get up close, I make sure the scope's dialed back, and I put one upstairs and I leave the bolt up, right?
Yeah.
And because I can physically see him about to shoot me or deafen me, drop the bolt.
Right.
Safeties,
And
I can't
hear it.
Yeah, and I can't see a safety, and so like when we get in on those like distances or whatever, I don't want to have to worry about ranging it. If I've ranged it and we were at 320, rest of the way in, I don't have to really do anything, right? So when we come around the corner, I'm just like drop the bolt, kill it. For me, that's hunting, right? That's like what big picture. But like you see when we teach these courses, like right before somebody goes, when we do like the what would you call it? It would definitely be like target acquisition, but basically that red zone of 100 and in, we dial all their scopes to 24 to see if they check. Yeah, and because nobody does. And there's nothing, I'm going to start yelling, nothing worse than a client doing this, right? Doing this. I can't see it. There's something wrong with the scope. What power are you on? Oh, I didn't dial it back. And then the animal's gone, right? So we dial their scopes up and we kind of, do the thing of like trying to set them up for failure to learn, like touch the stove and learn. And it is amazing, like, most of those guys have went to a range, shot a few, zeroed at 100, and that's it, where it's like, look, when we teach these courses, like for me, offhand is hardly anybody can shoot offhand. I'm a big offhand guy. To me, you should be able to shoot anything from 100 and in offhand.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And most people, let me grab my trigger stick, and I'm like, shoot,
it's 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean.
The other thing that frustrates me, I don't guide, but I'm on at least 7 hunts that we take a year with these hunt winners. We just draw them out of our subscriber base, and so you get a really wide range of hunting skills, right? The ones that drive me nuts are the guys that roll in. You kind of said this, roll in and go, oh, I can hit anything at 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And then you come to find out they can't shoot any other position but prone.
Yeah.
You're like, do you know how high the grass is out here in the antelope plats?
Yeah.
Number one, we're shooting on the the face of the moon, and the grass is 8 inches tall. You're not going to see anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say, and I'm sure whatever, but we had a very large mule deer out the Can-Am, right? Literally, like roll up, we get out. We get to it, and the guy's like, I mean, nothing wrong with bog pods, but he's like, I got to grab my bog pod. And I'm like, no, just shoot it. I'm like, put it on my shoulder. I'm already deaf. Shoot it. I can't shoot. I got to have the sticks. I broke those sticks over. I mean, I had a full-on meltdown. I had to buy him a new bog pod. I mean, I beat it to death on a rock, and I was like, I hate these. I was like, dude, learn to shoot. So I was telling the guy, I was like, sheer math, how many animals are going to give you that opportunity at 100 at a 6-second, 4-second window? Right. And so, I mean...
Or you jump them at 30 and they run out to 150, stop and look at you. The Achilles heel of a mule deer. Mm-hmm. And these guys are still trying to get set up to shoot. I'm like, you got to be way quicker than that.
Yeah, and so what we do, and I mean, what I really suggest anybody listen to this, and you can dry fire, like just practice dry fire, and it's like, look, 100 and in, and do 2 or 3 targets, do the one at 40, keep just... Drop the bolt, boom, boom, boom. It goes out to 150. Drop to a knee, left elbow, left knee. Work on that. All right, modified prone, find something to put it in. And then prone is easy. But if you never shot off a backpack, right? Like I get tons of guys going on a sheep hunt. I'm going to bring my bipod. And I'm like, look, the chances of using that bipod are slim. The chances of you on a rock are very high on your backpack. So, like, practice all those. Obviously, too, like, field expedient sandbags. Take your puffy jacket. Yeah. Roll that up. Put it on the
sleeping bag if you're
whatever
still
you
got your pack on. Yeah, it's just being able to be I guess adapt it.
Yeah. Well,
the
thing is,
situation.
You spend $100,000 on a hunt, and you got a $12,000 custom gun. You probably learn to shoot the fucking thing, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty important. So,
and
I sound like a.
And if you can't get within 400 yards, you probably ought to learn how to walk too.
Mm-hmm. There is occasional times where you are going to get a sheep or an animal that has bedded in a position that just is smart, right? And he's got 360 around him at a pretty good distance. The thing, like, if you're qualified to do it, if you're comfortable to do it, you have all day, I'll push that 400 a little bit. And when I, just being honest, it's like, if you've practiced it and I feel comfortable and we got a good distance to watch the animal. But overall, like, you should just be able to scoot closer. And it's practice at distance, but, like, hunting is getting closer. So
one of the things that we do in the field, if it's a situation like that where he's, you hear like hits 500 yards, and he's just sitting there bedded, I'm like, okay, we got all the time in the world.
Yeah, patience kills everything.
Let's get comfortable.
Yeah.
Let's dry fire 3 or 4 times so that the jitters are out, so that when that thing does go bang, it's perfect. And that will change a hunt significantly.
Yeah, the dry firing thing, Lance, a buddy of mine, he helped me out last year, and he's a sniper. He's a big dry fire guy. We had one guy dry fire like 18 times.
Yeah.
Like I say he did, I didn't. But again, it really, like, all it really boils down to is, 1, upping your success, and 2, just having a better experience. There's nothing worse than being – we had a biggest stone sheep I've seen, high 170s. Dude missed at 300 yards. It wasn't in a perfect position. And me, I'm losing my mind because I know what we got in front of me. Now, this guy's got more money than God, so it wasn't as big of a deal to him. But, like, upping your, like, shooting a bunch of – it's no different than archery. Shooting a bunch of different positions, practice reloading, bow and gun.
Yeah.
How many guys I see shoot and
then forget to throw another one in there.
Yeah, like you always
What's
throw
the
another
number one
in.
thing a guy said after a gun goes off? Put another
Reload.
one in him.
Yep, reload. Well, and you see some of the videos with me shooting animals, I'm reloading an arrow like fast. I mean, I have seen sometimes this off subject, but we did have a dude unload 3 live rounds with a grizzly charging, like bing, 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 and the grizzly died, and the dude was like, "Where'd I hit it?" And I'm like,
Your gun never
dude,
went off.
I don't think your gun went off, and there's 3 live rounds. It was a shit show. I mean, it was coming. I was a big bear. And, when we, with the bear thing or whatever, like, Wyoming's horrible about bears, but, like, we're dealing with quite a bit of bear grizzly activity up there. Is the shooting portion of this is holding your mud, like testing your metal.
Right.
Like, it's not just, I mean, sometimes it's not just, the animal you're wanting to take home. It's the one that's about to eat you is important to, be accurate with that as well, where the offhand thing comes in. The grizzly thing, and I didn't realize, you guys have mentioned it before, I didn't realize how bad of a problem the grizzlies were in Wyoming. Like, there's one area we went into, and I think we saw 7 in a day. Like, it's a problem, and it doesn't seem like they're ever going to open a season.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Wyoming is really pushing, legislatures is really pushing it, and now, I don't know if you know this, but our former fish and game director in Wyoming just got tapped to be the federal fish and wildlife director, which that will help a lot down the road. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see us hunting them. It's my bet.
It needs to happen, because when you're seeing 6 in a day, that's a problem.
Well, this mountain that we hunt on, it's not a huge mountain, but they flew it to count bears. There's 40 of them on it. 40.
Yeah, and there should be like
one day.
2. Yeah. So
they're overpopulated. That's why they're ending up in eastern Montana on sheep ranches and stuff.
Yeah, I have a question though on the Wyoming side of things. Like, Wyoming takes very good care of its residents.
Yeah.
Being a non-resident,
Don't tell
for a
people
while,
that.
Well, yeah, no kidding. Well, what I'm getting at is, like, I feel that all Western states should mimic Wyoming, for the most part. And when I say that, like, people moving to Wyoming seems like a good idea. There is some downsides. It's cold as shit for a lot of the year.
We
right?
left on Wednesday. It was 21 below zero at home.
Yeah, with a plus wind chill, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, but I think that because I've gotten pretty hammered on my views for Colorado, right? Like, so my views for Colorado, like, is, okay, you bring it back to the good old days. My good old days aren't that long ago, but, like, early 2000s, 2006, 7, 8, like, where I could go into a wilderness area, legitimately shoot a 5x5, 6x6, 150-inch mule deer-ish, pretty easily. Not easily, but, a hunt. And those times have come and gone. So, like, when I say, hey, cut all OTC tags out, whatever, I'm getting, like, some horrible shit from guys. And I'm like, look, if you want to continue going bow hiking, this is the route to do. Like this is the way to go. If you want to, every 3 to 4 years, have a legit good hunt, then I would say that, maybe dig a little deeper and look into this, because you can go hiking year round. You're telling me you've hunted 4 years and you've never seen an elk. You should just come out and fish, because you probably will catch a fish, and then in every 4 years go hunting.
Yeah, exactly. Go hunt in an area that's you can draw every 4 years that you're going to see.
Yeah, and I've got hate recently because this is a draw tag that I have, a landowner tag where I shut that one, but I've had people, you don't hunt OTC anymore, you've lost your roots. And I'm like, no, I know right where my roots were. OTC sucks, and I don't want to keep doing it. Now, the last thing an OTC unit needs is a trigger-happy dude that's blood-hungry like me that has some skills, because I'm going to shoot a raghorn. I'm coming home with something. So,
like, oops, did I shoot that one?
Oh, yeah. So I've told people, like, you don't want me in an OTC area. I am not going to help the problem because my ass is going to kill something. So, but I've learned also with maturity or whatever, it's also, it's more about what I want. It's also what's going to help the animal population
Right.
and the hunt in general for everyone. Right. And so I would say Colorado's probably done the best job at screwing things up, or one of the best jobs.
And they've done it really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Really quickly. And there's some states that are making progress. Wyoming's making some really good progress. Montana's starting to do some cool stuff with adjusting and figuring out their general deer season, which I don't know how in the hell they still have deer the way they hunt them for a month in the rut. I mean it's crazy to me, but there's some good things. And I think you're right. Wyoming does a really good job protecting their residents. I still think their tags are too cheap. When you're buying an elk tag for $65,
I would
you can't
agree.
even buy a box of ammo for that.
No. In fact, we met with Hornady yesterday, and when they said they were going to give me ammo, I was pretty excited. I don't know who you guys are sponsored by with
Hornady.
ammo. Yeah.
So you can say that.
Well, it's funny. Like the dude, when I walked up, I mean, my girlfriend's over here, and I have stacks of ammo. So like I got AR and, with a normal whatever. So I have like a stack of 300 PRC 225s and 6.5 PRC 148 ELDs or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's, ELDs. I'm not a gun guy. That shit is expensive, right? You like, thank God my kid's already, grown up, because like literally as I'm buying boxes, I'm taking away from the college fund, right? I mean, it's because back in the day it was $20 a box.
Yeah.
What is it now? Probably $78 bucks for a 300 PRC 225 for a box of 20.
Yeah.
So when we were talking with them, I was like, I'm more of a bow guy, but I was like, we do a lot of stuff, and I do shoot things with a rifle, and I was like, look, man, I'm a Hornady guy. Like every gun manufacturer I talk to tells me, if you're not a reloader, grab Hornady. It's just as accurate out to 5.600.
I haven't been able to reload ammo for my 7mm PRC more accurate than what I get from Hornady. I just haven't.
Yeah,
and then you're like, what is the point? I don't need another hobby.
Yeah, no. Like I was looking at fly tying, and my AD ass is like, okay, can I even tie a fly? So like, I don't like fletching arrows. I'm certainly not going to want to reload. So like, I've had great luck, and I've shot barns and a bunch of other stuff, but with Outdad specifically, Outdad's something I do as well, which is kind of like the poor man's sheep.
Yeah.
But the
numbers,
used
to be shit. The price of that's went up.
No, I fucked that all up. You can blame me for that one.
I am.
Yeah, it's gotten bad. And I mean, I've definitely seen some memes about I've made Outdad hunting cool again. It never was cool. I made it cool, right? Like Scotty and I did. But the thing is with Outdad, we're pumping 50 to 80 ewe hunts and 20 to 40 ram hunts. Mm-hmm. And when I was down there a lot, half of those are mine.
Yeah.
You see a lot, right, going on. And when I say you see a lot with bullets, arrows obviously already kind of had a handle on that, but like you see like what works and what doesn't.
You guys using ELDXs?
ELDXs,
yeah. Those things are, I call them tank busters. They get in, they go right through and then explode. And everybody's like, oh, that's, the traditional guys are like, that's horrible. I go, you know what? I've been hunting with the ELDX since they came out, which is almost 10 years now, and watched the first animal ever die with an ELDX, and hundreds of animals. I've never lost one.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And I mean, the devastation, right? The thing is like the accuracy portion is huge, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're getting both, I mean, it's a big one. And I don't want to make it a Hornady sales pitch, but for a redneck like me, who's literally my guide gun is a 6.5 PRC. Every now and then we'll bring out the 300, but when I say guide gun, whether you got a bow or a gun, the chances of me breaking out mine are fairly, if if there's a couple legs swinging around, then I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
Like I hit an antelope at 380 yards, and it was one of those things where like it was just immediate. And I had, like you said, the offside shoulder was hammered, but the devastation, it looked fake. Like there was so much devastation. And I get a lot of guys that are like, well, do you want that? Everybody dives down a rabbit hole, and I'm like, look, to me, like, yes, if the shot is perfect, you can whine about devastation. But when the shot is not perfect, you're not going to be complaining about the devastation that you
Right.
got. So, yeah.
So what do you got coming up? You're going to go back to BC?
No, this year I'm going to hunt. I might take a client or two, but no, I'm not going to mention anywhere I'm going to hunt in a home state. But more than most likely, I may go up in August to guide a couple hunts with Bart. But I'm going to do this hunt here probably again.
That's Colorado.
For Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, and then probably I'll do Wyoming. I'll probably get a cow tag as well, but I haven't put in yet because I'm kind of going back and forth. There's an outfitter across the way from me over a mountain range that one of your guys is how I figured out. You can thank Dan for me figuring out where he hunts. Probably going to put in for that area. So I called that outfitter. It was like, look, bro, I know where you hunt. Pack me in to where you're not, and then we'll get along great. And then you can pack me back out because I don't want to jack your stuff up. And so I may put in for that tag. But it's so good around my house. I might just do I'm going back and forth. Last year I screwed up. I put in for an archery tag. I was guiding the whole season. I'm probably going to put in for an early season archery. I'm trying to be cool with the local guides and outfitters. So if I come in 15 days, right, before they come in, because they come in the 15th, I can get in there, down a bull, get out, not pissing his Wheaties. I'm trying to get along with the guy. It's kind of going good. Head to Colorado, hunt here. Probably hit South Dakota. My buddy Rotier, I'll probably hit mule deer in South Dakota, Alberta. Somewhere in the middle of that, depending, I'm going to go, I think, shoot a brown bear with Kip Fultz.
Oh, nice.
With bushwhack. So that's kind of the last animal for me. Like that's the last one I haven't been able to shoot that I've wanted to shoot. Yeah. So I mean, I'd like to shoot a stone, but it's not a bucket list animal. The sheep thing, like the last time I was on your podcast, I interviewed you the whole time. But when people say like you get the sheep bug, people that are poor magically don't get that bug as much as the people with money because the sheep bug is expensive. So when I started kind of doing the northern thing or whatever, it's about $35,000 for a stone.
Yeah.
It's about 100. It's 90 to 125 now. Doll was probably, I don't know, 24, 22. Yeah. Now it's 38 or whatever.
45.
Yeah, 45. Yeah, it's going up. And then plus travel and tip and everything else. So, like, if you have the sheep bug, I guarantee you're probably not working the trades. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not some. And it's.
If you do, you own it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's expensive. I never got the sheep bug, even though I've been on a lot of sheep hunts. But
I never got the bug.
No, and I mean bighorn now. You might as well just expect to ride a unicorn and talk to Jesus firsthand to afford a bighorn hunt, whether that's California or what,
Alberta,
right? Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Well, and I say California, like a California bighorn or whatever, Rocky Mountain. I mean, it's just expensive, right? And so when people like bug me about, different hunts, I'm like, look, what would you say with $100,000? How many premium mule deer and elk hunts could you go on? What would you say? Probably 10. 5 for sure, but 10, yeah. And so for me, like I could give two shits if I ever shoot a sheep. Like if you said, because I like mule deer, I like elk too, but if you were like, hey, you can go on 3 goat hunts and 6 mule deer hunts, I wouldn't even be like, maybe I should go on a sheep.
Maybe I'll do one sheep hunt.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
that's how. So I got the Africa bug a long time ago. And recently, somebody's like, "Would you go on a sheep hunt or you go to Africa?" I was like, "Africa," because I can go to Africa animals. Like 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
For the same price.
30 animals for one.
Yeah. So well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Podcast is Born Primitive.
Primitive Outdoor Podcast. Yeah. Yep.
And that's everywhere podcasts are found.
Yeah. Jerry, my partner in crime, Jerry Shaw, he does all the, like, thank God he listens to them before he posts them to make sure I'm doing stupid. But Jerry handles all the podcasts. So I think we just started at like 16, episodes, but it's the standard thing. We don't just talk about hunting. We certainly don't just talk about clothing. It's a little bit of everything. So yeah.
That's really cool. Really cool. Well, I appreciate it. Find you on Instagram, Facebook. There's always fun. You are really good at making funny posts. Read the posts because they're not just the photo.
Yeah. When I do type, actually, it's generally a smart-ass comment. I recently, it's Aron Snyder on social. But I recently was coerced into posting a fitness photo. And showed nipples. So I was pretty aware what was going to happen because I don't post gym photos really. I mean, occasionally on my story, but like fitness wise, I'm into fitness, but I was kind of like, hey, you should like it's motivational for people. If I had to go back in time, I probably would not have posted the photo with my shirt off. I was shredded, right? But the amount of we can edit this out. The amount of gay memes that came my way were astronomical, and rightfully so. Like I would have been sending them to as well, but like I try to keep it lighthearted on my social media.
Well, you're from Wyoming.
Page.
That's where they filmed the Brokeback Mountain? Just
dude. I tell you what, Wyoming. I'm going to tell the story real quick. When I first rolled into Wyoming, I had a Ford F-250 Super Baja, so it was a 6.7 turbo that was sent to Shelby, tricked out. They only made like 50 of them. Tiny, like small penis truck, like giant. So I have Colorado plates. I roll up.
There's
in
two
that
strikes
corridor,
against you.
dude. I'm in that corridor we talked about.
Yep.
And on the side of the road, just glassing, and a local farm. I've never really talked to the guy much again, but he rolls up, fucking screaming at me. I mean, heated. And my truck's loaded for bear. Like I've got a 10 on my right leg. I usually got a lever action in the back. So I hop out. I'm like, dude. He's yelling at me, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna need more than you and your son. Like, calm down, right? Like, chill. And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking Republican. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm on your side, okay? And so, because it was about to go to fists. And I'm like, bro, look, I know it says Colorado. I get it. And I'm like, and I know I have a giant, tiny penis truck. But look, we started, and he was super cool. But I was like, I am going to like this place. Like, this is my type of place. Because there were some Utah vehicles that got burnt down. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard. Like you don't. I like that. Like I'm cool. I say the burnt down. I'm not, but I'm glad they're
tires all slashed and.
Oh yeah. And I'm glad it's like that. I mean, I've had people give me crap about it, but I'm not saying you should slash tires. But I think with the way
you're talking about the mentality of Wyoming, we're a very. Wyoming people are very state of themselves.
Yeah.
But don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get it.
They don't provoke, but they defend, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, though we started talking or whatever, and and like what, and he was probably 60, and he was going to throw down, and I'm not a small man, and he was super cool. We talked for a while. He's like, hey, next time you can do whatever photos you want, and I'm like, hey, if you ever need help and you see me, I'll give you a hand. I mean, how it should be.
Yeah.
But I prefer that, but I dealt with Colorado on the other end of the spectrum where my neighbor had moved from California and we had problems, major problems, to a point I'm like, look, dude, I don't know if you know this, but I can fire weapons all day and night right here, and you can't do anything about it. Like, we're outside of city limits. I'll set a predator call up beside your chicken coop. Like, I can do whatever I want. So, yeah, having at the other end of the spectrum in Wyoming's been a lot better, especially for me and my neighbor across the canyon is.
I'm going to use that.
My neighbor across the canyon is the state trapper. He's got steel out. There's automatic weapons firing. My neighbor down the road, his kid's watching my dog. And, I'm out flipping tires half naked, shooting my bow. Everybody's chill. Like, it's cool. You throw a Californian in there, it's going to fuck everything up. So I get it. Like, I understand. So, yeah.
That's good. Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. And let's do some fishing.
Yeah, heck yeah. In fact, what we were talking about earlier, when I figure that out, I'll let you know, and we'll float that thing.
100%.
I love those, like, hogosauruses. Those are big fish in there. So
big fish.
Yeah. I don't want to
fish. And no tell 'em Creek on the other side of Can't See It Ridge.
Well, that's what I was immediately advised on social media to shut up on the fishing side too. So I'm like, okay,
definitely on the fishing side, because you'll end up. You were talking about green license plates. You'll end up with 12 of them. At every boat ramp.
Yeah. No, it's been interesting. I used the shuttle service the other day, and they didn't move my truck, and it was snowing. I mean, we were horrible. And I called, and they're like, "No, you called a different place." I'm like, "Ma'am, I hit redial." It was
it was redial.
They were super cool. They went and got it. But yeah, the fishing up there it's good. It definitely needs to be protected for sure.
That's right.
And
right.
I appreciate you having me on, man. It's always a pleasure. So.
Well, thanks for listening today. Aron Snyder, it's always entertaining, always fun. There's always a couple sound bites. There's always a couple things I'm going to go, oh, that's right, we got to put it explicit on this one.
Yeah, I screwed that up. So yeah.
How many times did you say nipple?
Nipple. Titty sprinkles. Yeah. Lord. Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate everything you guys do. It's been a pleasure. I've known you for years, so thank you.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.